I guess somebody woke up Sleepy Joe sleeping in the Oval Office, and he's decided to honor, or at least try to honor some of the commitments that he made on the campaign trail. So Joe Biden's student loan relief tax, program that he's come up with. I think it's about 10 grand supposedly, where they're relieving student loans or whatever. And Shawn said that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Ask for forgiveness than permission. Sometimes it's better.
I really wish he would do that in more than just as it relates to more than just student loans. Just do it. Just do it. Hey, look, you got 4 years at best. And let's be honest, Joe's not gonna get another 4 years.
Probably not.
He's probably not gonna get another 4 years. Man, just do what you feel is right now, and whatever they want to undo, they can undo. Or you can apologize for it, but who knows? Like that could, in the eyes of some people, that could spring you up a little bit.
I mean, I think that he's in a tough spot because on the one hand, he's got the progressive wing of the Democratic Party that wants him to
do more,
and you're not gonna like this. Spend more.
You think spend more?
Well, buddy, the bill must be paid. This is the thing. Whenever you hear something that says forgiveness, somebody's got to pay the tab.
Okay.
Somebody's got to pay the tab.
Well, I'll say because
Christologically, you know this.
Yeah,
the debt must be paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't evaporate.
Yeah. Okay, so but it's like that on the other side too. So you have conservative Republicans, no, don't spend more, but there's less to spend because of giving tax breaks to the millions, to the millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like either way, $1, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
Well, it doesn't end up being a half dozen in the other, because the people that make the millions, they can afford to pay very clever and crafty CPAs, accountants, tax lawyers to protect their assets from being taxed.
Yeah, but I mean,
plain and simple. So it's
even with Trump trying to answer to conservative Republicans, stretched it from just independent people to businesses, and with that we'll win companies to do business in back in America, that kind of whatever.
Sure.
So I mean again, yeah, my thing, it impacts a bigger mass of people when it's forgiveness than it does when you say tax break to the wealthy. It's a very small number of people.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, hey, look, I got 2 in college. He just did me a favor.
Well, I don't think this is going to be in effect for them, buddy.
Well, for Tay, it will be.
Okay.
Because he, he's done, but.
Right. No, I get it.
But.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the move.
I mean, it's something. I mean,
hey,
I think that.
He's up. I'll take it as a win. He's up. Yeah. Somebody woke him up. He's up. I'll take it as a win.
Yeah. So.
I'll take it as a win. And 10 grand ain't a lot. And again, and we're gonna talk. I'm gonna lay out some other stuff, and we'll get into it on some shows. Like those parents that are like me, that are you just put one out, just getting one out of college, and another one. The tuition prices are ridiculously high.
Ridiculous.
You'll never, man. Look, teachers and administrators that in our school districts, that I can only imagine. That's why I'm always like, they need to make more money, because I can only imagine what kind of debt they're paying just to be educated to educate kids. It's, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
UT, I don't know. Tay probably ran up some crazy amount in student debt just to get through school. It's just And then now that pressure's on you, yeah, okay, now you graduated. Good for you. Here's a degree. Now go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now pay back over the course of the rest of your life what you ate up in 4 years just to have this.
Right. Principal and interest.
It's just, man, I don't, I get it. And then there's some other numbers that we can throw out. The difference between the cost of education at HBCUs is higher, way higher than PWIs.
Yeah. I know, buddy.
I get it. Joe should have did this a year ago. At least a year ago. Probably.
Yeah, I think he was still dealing with the tail end of pandemic situation.
Call it what it is. Joe wants everyone to like him.
Oh, well, buddy, who said this? I want to give proper attribution. I can't call the name of the author. But if you want to make everybody, I think, it was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. Okay. You want to make everybody happy, sell ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because leadership is not the place.
It's not. Especially
leadership
in a divided,
is not the place.
Right, a divided
and definitely
country.
Not at that level.
Right.
But I mean, you can't manage, a McDonald's and AT&T store without at least one person being upset with, oh man, I asked for Wednesdays. I only got Tuesdays off.
Right.
Somebody is going to be upset.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The point is that how do we get the most good for the most people?
And I think this is a good start.
Sure. I mean, it all comes down to, I guess whenever it comes to stuff like this, it depends on how it's structured, how it's paid for. Because would you pay? The problem is that when you go to the grocery store, there's a price tag on everything you buy.
Mm-hmm.
When the government spends your money, you don't always get to see the price tag.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
They're showing you the list of features and benefits.
Right.
They're showing you the box and the product. But we don't know what this is going to cost.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So if you had a bill for this, because it has to be paid, and you divided it out, okay? Because some would say that, okay, well, what about the people that fulfilled their loan obligations, worked hard, and they paid off their loan? What do they get? Nothing. For the people that paid cash, never got student loans, took 1 or 2 classes at a time. When they had the money, they took the class. What do they get? Nothing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But now they had to pay for their education, and they have to pay for, in taxation,
somebody else's education.
a part of somebody else's education. You see what I'm saying? That's where the forgiveness
it is
paints this rosy picture.
Right. But and now if you're talking about being far removed, because again, if you're talking about somebody who's already, like, I'm talking about somebody that just did. Somebody just made their last payment. They just made their last payment. They paid off $120,000 in student loan debt. And then now here comes, okay. But see, they paid off $120,000 in student loan debt. If they paid off $120,000 in student loan debt, we're talking about debt from the 80s, 90s.
Not necessarily. I mean, you're assuming
Early
a rate
2000s.
of, you're assuming a slow rate of payment.
Right. Because it is what it is. You can't live and do that. I mean, if you had $120,000, you'd have paid for it then. You wouldn't have waited.
You might need to get those degrees in order to generate the income in order to pay the money back.
We're talking about the rising cost of education.
I get it. But here's the deal. The problem is what you just said right there. The rising cost of education, and how many liberal arts degrees are getting wiped out because of this, that they got a job that has nothing to do with the degree that they got. Poor decision making. You see what I'm saying? Or people that, got into paper mills where, they went to Everest or whatever TV college.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And somebody recruited them in, and they ran up a $50,000 tab for a useless degree.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm not saying it doesn't
How much?
happen.
Because here's the deal. All this money, because it's capped off at $125,000 for individual and $250,000 for a couple, for a married couple.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So that means the doctors, well, not all of them, but let's just say doctors, lawyers, some higher paying positions where you're making more than $125,000 a year, you don't qualify for this.
Right.
So it's people making less than $125,000 individually, or two people making less than $125,000
right.
each. So, is this enabling? Is this enabling the educational structure where, again, run up the tab, Uncle Joe will go ahead and pick it up for you. Take as many classes. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Take as many classes as you need. Get whatever degree, whether or not it's of any significance, so on and so forth, and then go out there and work at Starbucks. But I got a master's in underwater basket weaving. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
I ran up $75,000 in debt, but now everybody has to take a share and pay, because if you got a bill for $500 for someone else's education, is not your children, how do you feel about it?
I'm extremely upset. But okay,
and that's what's happening.
But see, that's the bend to the like American culture. Like, this is what we promote. Like, so, and I know you're saying that, and I'm sure there's a percentage of people that got degrees and stuff they can never use. But what about the people that got degrees and stuff that promised them a future when they went and got it?
Right.
And now you have a degree in business management or business administration, and you can't find a job in that arena.
In that, right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So like again, that's, sometimes we sell our kids, And
this is where I think that some things, one of the things we do that we've done in the past, at Good Shepherd, is that we went over with the high school parents to look at a cost benefit analysis of the degree that your child wants. And it's like, look, what is the projected earnings of someone that has this? You see what I'm saying? And compare, what do you have to spend? There's a certain ratio that you need to hit, to me, for it to be of value.
See, and that's what I didn't want to do. That's what I didn't want. So I told him,
because I don't agree with the whole deal of, just do what you love.
Hey, work your passion and you'll never work a day in your life. So here's my thing.
There's a lot of broke people that heard that.
And I get it.
And they were told something that, because here's the deal. Sometimes, because it takes more than passion, it takes execution. And not everybody that has the passion has the ability to stay disciplined and execute. They may love a particular subject or love a particular arena, but they're not going to revolutionize that arena. Does that make sense?
I mean,
they're not the revolutionary. They're not the visionary that's going to change the industry, or not a luminary. They're someone that's going to participate in the industry. Does that make sense?
I mean, you don't know till you try, but I
get that. But what I'm saying, what's the point of spending $75,000 to get a $35,000 a year job?
I don't know. But I would rather do that, and you're happy about Monday morning, than waking up on Monday morning going, I got to do this all over.
But what I'm saying is that some people choose to go to institutions that are way beyond what they need. Like a private school education, right? You go to a private college or university, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you could have gone to a state school that gives you just as good a quality of education, all that different stuff, but you paid, twice as much.
State school education is now almost just as high as private school education. So it's like, so now what's the choice? It's like, and I get it. And again, people hated Bernie Sanders, called Bernie a socialist and whatever. But Bernie was on point. Like, you tell kids, brush your tail from kindergarten to 12th grade, and they do it. Now, that means absolutely nothing. It just qualifies you to get into school to where most of the times, most of our students can't afford to go anyway. But we'll let you go. You just got to go in debt. But that's the only way you can make any money.
Well, it's not though. That's a lie. And this is why
that's the American culture. So,
but this is where we have a problem.
Okay, so in terms of you can make a decent amount of money?
People not wanting to go into trades. We have a huge problem, like in terms of telecommunications workers, steel workers. These are high-paying, good jobs, but they're not white collar.
Wait, a telecommunication worker is a high-paying, good job?
Yes. I'm not talking about somebody who works in a cell phone store, which they can do pretty well. I'm talking about the people that actually go out and lay down the fiber, people that do the network engineering, that all the behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, so you can do behind the scenes stuff with no degrees.
You don't have to have a bachelor's degree. You can have a vocational degree. Because some of the stuff, you're not the engineer that's designing it. You're installing it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, let's see if we can agree on this.
Plumbers, electricians, all six-figure gigs.
They are, and they're six-figure gigs.
Yes, sir. 100%.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, let me get you to the Bureau of Labor.
Okay. Again, okay. So, because basically, and we're not talking about working for, the company. I can't think of the company. We just some more, whatever, and because they're going to pay you hourly. That's not going to give you.
If you Google annual income master plumber, 82,500.
Master plumber.
I get it. You gotta crawl before you walk, buddy. But even then, you're starting off at 66.
Okay,
straight out the gate with no debt.
Okay,
with no debt.
So maybe we need to start there then as a culture.
60, no, but we're going to have a big problem.
66 is not a lot of money.
That's above average. That's above the median household income.
Okay.
And that's one person.
What do you think a one-bedroom apartment goes for in Houston?
I don't know, buddy, because I'm not in that market.
Exactly. Man, it's like $1,500 now.
Come on, man. You're telling me that in the city of Houston, you're telling me that I can't go to apartments.com and find an apartment for less than $1,500?
Absolutely cannot, unless you're willing to stay in the bottoms by the railroad track with all your expenses paid. You might get $1,200.
Well, right next to Union Pacific.
Saying, like the cost of living is going up.
I agree.
But wages aren't.
Correct.
And so when I'm going into life with this existing debt from just going to college, which you're told like that's the only way you can make any money. So now,
right, and that's what I'm saying is that's not the truth. That is not the truth. The truth is that you don't have to have a college.
What you know.
You don't have to have a college education to do well in life.
Those that now again, we came in different generations, right? So my father made a great living, and didn't have.
Same thing with my dad.
You had Umco Steel and those kind of steel companies, whatever that paid grocery supply, where it paid great amounts of money. Like that's few and far between now. I remember the woman that worked at Kroger's. The Kroger's owned Aldi Millrap. Mm-hmm. She was the manager, whatever. She was the manager there a long time. Like she was seeing, the term that was one of my jobs when I got out of high school. I'm gonna go work with her. She was seeing the turn the corner. She was like, "Hey, look, go to school because this is about to change." Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking in my head like, "No, she don't know." And now I walk in Kroger's and like the cashier job that some people used to have. Now you check yourself out,
right? Yeah.
Like, so now in order to make it, you almost have to have a college degree. It costs to get. And
I've just seen evidence to the contrary. I've seen evidence. There was a old TV show with Kelsey Grammer, old show named Frasier. And so
I'm a Frasier fan. Come on.
Frasier, buddy.
Yeah.
It's what it is. Seattle, the whole deal. So there's an episode of Frasier where he's having trouble with his with his toilet, with his commode. And he calls a plumber and he treats the guy, in true Frasier fashion.
Right.
Very condescending, because he's a psychologist and all this stuff. Right. And so he's speaking to him because he thinks that, this guy's just a plumber. And so as he's, fixing everything, he mentions something about, he's got to get his car pulled around. He drives a Mercedes. And the plumber turns around and is like, oh, yeah, so you got S-Class too? And Frasier does not. He has the lower model, right? He's like, you
right.
drive an S-Class? He doesn't believe. He's like, oh, yeah. It's like my fifth one. And Frasier just, he just cannot grasp that this guy in his apartment fixing his toilet
drives a
nicer car than he does.
One, that was a TV show.
But what I'm telling you,
I get it. Art imitates life. But
no, but I'm just telling you there was a gentleman that in the neighborhood I grew up in, he owned a HVAC company and did very, very well for himself.
And I know some.
Moved out the hood, and so on and so forth.
I know some that own.
I'm just telling you.
He owns an island. He owns his own neighborhood. But now, if something happens to your air conditioner, who are you going to call?
What's your point?
It's going to be some company that.
No, I actually have a guy that owns his own company. I call. You
got a couple guys, but I'm talking about by and large, American society is going to call.
They're going to call. Sears, Home Depot. They're going to call
more somebody.
Church services. They're going to call whoever.
And
I get it.
That means they're going to pay you hourly.
But here's the deal: you got to take into account that all those companies, they started with one guy.
But I mean.
One guy, one truck.
Absolutely.
He ran his business well. He got another truck. And he trained another guy.
Right. I get it.
And then he got another truck and another guy. And then he stopped doing the work.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
People can do it.
And now he's got 3 trucks in the street. So now he's got those good. He gets 2 more trucks and he says, okay, dude, I need you to run this over here. You're my district manager for this area. Right. I'm going to go set up my next district and my next district. And the next thing you know, you got 20 trucks all over town. You got John Moore. So you got ABC Pest Bowl and Lawn.
So to the young people, now your competition is the guy with all the trucks. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to start out on your own. You're not going to make a lot of money. It's easy to concede and just go work for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Go and work for somebody else. They're going to always make more money than you.
As they should.
So now you have.
Because they took the risk. They had to risk it for the biscuit. Now you want to get out there? And you want to stake your claim? Go ahead and do it. And this is my thing: is that it's not an education. It's not an educational. To me, though, the people that are truly successful is not the education; it's the execution.
I agree.
It's not the education. It's the execution.
Slim to none, though. I mean, what's the easiest? The path of least resistance is to go to school.
Yeah, go to school. Yeah, it's the normative path.
Right. And now in this culture,
you graduate high school,
you go to college.
You go to college, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job. You see what I'm saying? And then so on and so forth.
So here's the step that Joe Biden should have considered a long time ago that I think you're missing. You go to high school, you graduate, you go to college. You do your best. Hopefully you graduate within 4 to 5 years. And when you graduate, before you get a job, you got $200,000 in student loans that you're starting in the red.
Well, because the college counselor doesn't sit down and say, okay, young man, young lady, let me go ahead and count the cost with you. You want to be a sociologist. The job prospects, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, says the annual income is this. Okay. Now, with all your classes, and because basically you're not going to be able to be anywhere in that industry without having a master's degree. So by the time we do your bachelor's, your master's is going to cost you $150,000. They're not doing that. What they're saying is this: okay, let's go ahead and get you signed up. Here's your degree plan. Sign this, press down hard 3 copies, and nothing out of pocket. Just go to class.
Plug away, plug away, plug away. Now you're 75,000 in debt, and you got to finish. Hey, man, look,
I'm just telling you.
For inflation and all, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of blame to lay at a lot of places. It is.
I feel like state school should be free.
Well, again, there is no free. There is no free. You're getting a bill for it. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is that free to one person is paid for by another.
Hey,
it's never free. There is no free lunch.
All right, we get it.
Somebody's paying for it. It's free to the person that shows up, to the student, but somebody's got to pay. Money is a zero-sum game. Does that make sense? Except for the past 2 years where we printed a bunch of money. You see what I'm saying? But other than that, under normal circumstances, without insanity, money's just transferred. There's winners and there's losers. Money's transferred, not created, except for the past 2 years where we created a bunch of money. Now we're dealing with inflation. But what I'm saying is that if the government has to pay for it, that's you paying for it. The government has nothing but what you've given them.
Hey, Uncle Joe, put it on my ticket. I owe everybody else. Put it on my ticket. I pay for it. Put it on my ticket.
And that's the thing. So when you get the tax, then what happens is, when we get the tax bill, oh man, my taxes are through the roof. My property tax went up, gas tax went up, sales tax went up. But you want all the free stuff.
And to me, education is something we got to stretch for because, and then
but then we need to work out how we're going to pay for it. We got to work it out. I'm not saying that's a discussion. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. You see what I'm saying? Uh-huh. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to have some, and which Biden in his remarks today said that he's working on trying to put something together for a universal like community college type situation, where you could get a bachelor's degree and it's quote unquote free. But again, it's not free. It's just no charge to the recipient. Does that make sense? But somebody has to pay, because if it's free, who's showing up? I mean, you think these teachers are teaching these classes pro bono? And that the light company is like, hey, we're not going to charge Lone Star College or University of Houston or TSU a light bill?
I went to public school.
Mm-hmm.
Public school was free to me.
Free to you. It's free to the recipient.
Right.
But it was paid for.
My parents didn't pay.
It was paid
taxes,
for.
Whatever.
Right.
Why can't some college system be created along those same lines?
You can.
They should.
But here's the problem, is that once you do that, okay, then who's going to want to go teach there?
The same people that teach in public school now.
Well, then they're going to have to afford to pay them at the same market rate.
And they should.
Okay. With what money?
How do they do it for public school?
Property taxes.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
So now you're going to have to pay so now you're going to have a referendum and say, okay, everybody in your community, their property taxes are going up because we have to develop, we're going to call it the Moten Academy.
Yeah. Okay. So why did we run straight to independent? Like Exxon made quadruple the money in 21 that they made in 20, but they paid less taxes.
Right.
So why do we want straight to property taxes? And say, let's tax Exxon. They're making all the money.
Great. So let's tax Exxon. So Exxon, you say, okay, I'm just being the opposition advocate. Does that make sense? And
you can say devil's advocate.
But think about it. I mean, because again, business. Okay. All right. Exxon, you're doing really great, and as your reward for doing great in a capitalist system,
we're gonna bust in your head.
We're gonna bust it.
Go ahead.
Bust it to the white meat. Okay, so we're gonna need to tax you at this percentage. Really, I'm the CEO of Exxon. Okay, I'll tell you what, bud. If you go ahead and do that, no problem. We understand you have a country to run. We'll be in Ireland in 2 years. We're gonna relocate the headquarters of Exxon. And all the taxes, all that revenue will now go to the country of Ireland. because they're going to tax me at a lower tax rate, and it makes my books look better because my compensation plan
quadruple the money.
Because do you know how much insurance is on a Ferrari?
I get it.
You know?
I get it, but see, that's what's wrong with our country. Like, we all want the benefit, but nobody wants to put
everybody wants the reward without the responsibility.
Yeah, invest into the infrastructure, what's going to ultimately make us better.
Right.
And I think just having a whole bunch of generation of kids start out life in the workforce with a negative, let's just say $120,000. That's about the average.
But here's the deal. That's just life. You can't start a business without investing money. So whenever you start a business, you have to put the money in before you can buy the equipment, before you can set it. So you have to start off negative.
So you think education is just a good investment? The
level of investment is increasingly arguable as to how good of an investment it is outside of hard sciences, outside of being a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, something clinical. Does that make sense? Where you need STEM, you need science, technology, engineering, and math.
Right.
Outside of STEM fields, it's arguable.
Really?
Yeah, it's arguable. You see what I'm saying? As far as what is the value of a college education, it's diminishing.
And that's but look at where our country will be if we don't have any educators. What is going to happen?
What do you mean if we don't have any educators?
If we don't have it, okay. Say I go to college to be a school teacher. Mm-hmm. I know off rip, I'm going to make starting off what? 60, 65.
As a teacher?
As a teacher, 70.
No.
A year one teacher?
Year one teacher is not making that kind of money.
That's too high?
Yes, sir.
See, that's what I'm saying.
You're way out.
Okay.
Way out.
Okay. So a year one teacher, what, 50?
45 to 50.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So I go to school to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. I start off and I'm $50,000. Mm-hmm. I owe $100 for even going to school. Mm-hmm. So what is the drive of me to do it? And if our country don't have any educators, where do we end up ultimately? That's what I'm saying. As a country,
I agree. They should get paid more because they are the profession that creates all professions.
We have to keep with. So if it's a good investment on a personal level, then it has to be a good investment for the country to make.
I agree. Problem is, who's going to pay for it?
We find a way to do everything else. You
got to find a way to pay for it.
The Texans ain't won.
We already have the money. We spend our money so unwisely.
I think
there's a lot of waste. I'm sure we could find some money for this, that, and the third. Here's the problem. Everybody's going to ask the ultimate question. Okay. All stakeholders and participants, human beings, they have a frequency tuner like a radio, and they're all tuned into the same radio station. Okay. It's WIIFM. And that is what's in it for me. Every stakeholder, does that make sense? Yeah. Government, business, this, that, they're all tuned in to whatever, frequency that station is. But I tell you, what's broadcasting in the brains of most people is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So I cut this check, or I sacrifice this funding that I get now that I won't get anymore, or we take from this budget to put into that budget. You got to get people on board with it.
So how do you do it?
And people are going to ask, what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? Do you plan to have any kids?
Me personally, yeah.
So your little kid will know how to read. This is going to better.
But what I'm saying, to the people that are in positions of power and authority, their kids don't have to worry about that. They're already either going to go to the current public school system or they're going to pay to send them to a private school. So that whole argument there, again, remember the radio station they're tuned into, WIIFM. What's in it for me? Why should I pay a higher tax bill You see what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm like. So we do it for everything else. We do it for everything else. Mm-hmm. If you book a hotel room in Houston, mm-hmm. There's a tax accommodation on that ticket. Correct. For the Texan Stadium. Mm-hmm. You rent a car mm-hmm. for the Texas Stadium. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Texan fan.
Don't matter.
But it's cool to do it for this. But not cool to do it for that.
But it's a business that makes money. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's real. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, what it all comes back to is money. What you're talking about makes money. The problem is education isn't sexy. You see what I'm saying? When you put forward, okay, let's go ahead and build this stadium. People can see, hey, that was a field. Oh, now there's a stadium. And we have a sports team. And there's business. And there's enterprise. You see what I'm saying? People are making money. There's vendors. There's all this different stuff, blah, blah, blah. When the school's already there, you just keep driving by and you keep seeing the school and just different kids go in, different kids come out. But you don't see
the fact that most of our schools are understaffed.
I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, telling you. We don't see it. But like I'm saying over the course of time, mm-hmm. This pandemic, America's going to have to make some real decisions.
We got some stuff coming around the corner because I'm telling you, man,
very soon.
The bill's about to come due.
Hey, and we're going to have to make some real decisions real soon.
A lot of different things.
And you know, that's why I keep saying like there's some even stuff that we don't even consider the normal citizen doesn't consider, but we do need. And I keep telling Uncle Joe, we do need Joe Biden and then President. Yeah, please don't email me. I have respect for the president. He needs to start. You're the watchman on the wall as far as it relates to this country, and somebody got to see up the street.
Well, the problem is I'm sure that Joe Biden wants to do probably a lot of things, everything that you're saying, because I've already seen his comments. Your quarrels with the wrong Joe. Because there's another Joe in Washington, D.C. that is the one that's holding up the show. That's Joe Manchin, senator from West Virginia, I believe. Because the Democrats have the majority, but the problem is they don't.
Because of him.
Because of him, and also at certain points, Kristen Sinema. So you have the majority, but you don't. That's why nothing's getting done. And so when something does get done, it's because Joe Manchin decided to allow it.
Yeah, this is it. I mean,
because the president doesn't have carte blanche. He's not the king of the country. You see what I'm saying? He can't do.
He did this,
but that's just an extension.
Let's do a couple more.
I'm just telling you, that just extended the play.
It did.
You didn't create anything.
Just do a couple more extensions. I mean,
right?
I mean, just do a couple. Right? If we don't start putting money where it should go, and I don't think, this is not bad. This is, and believe it or not, this has put a bend on our society. Man, you could start talking to some people that you think are doing well, and they're like, man, these student loans are killing me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. 100%.
Yeah, it is what it is. So I think it's a good move, and yeah, I would rather him do it. Ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for permission because you'll never get it.
And politically, the Democrats need to learn how to play hardball better.
Yeah.
There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in politics.
No, right.
And they need to get together, because one thing the Republicans do better than the Democrats is they play team politics better. Mm-hmm. They're a better political team. Now, you might have individual Democrats. I see Beto out here winning hearts and minds.
That's my dude.
Abbott better be careful.
Hey, that's my dude.
I'm just telling you, better be careful.
I got to send you this.
But that's an individual. I already know what you're talking about.
That's my dude.
Yeah,
bro.
we can't say that in polite company. But let's just say Beto spoke his mind at a particular, it looked like it was a town hall meeting type situation.
He had some avid fans there.
Some colorful language.
Dude started laughing when he was talking about what these guns are made for.
Right.
And he said, "Man, it might be funny to you,
right?
But it ain't funny to me."
Yeah.
So tell them, Beto.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. You have certain, and that's what I normally see, in my observation in politics of the past, is that you have some individual players on the Democratic side that make a splash, make an impact. But man, the Republicans, man, they get their people in line. Everybody's in lockstep. Everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody's singing from the same sheet of music, and they play the team sport better.
Yeah.
If the Democrats want to win, they got to learn how to, number one, enact policies that people like. So when you have something that people like, you need to jump on it. If you feel like, hey, this is in the best interest of the country, then you need to enact those popular policies. But you can't have these rogue senators not pushing forward the agenda.
Right. Because Democrats,
they've
lost many independent, agendas, and not a party agenda.
Right.
And that's what I think is missing. They don't have a party agenda, and I think anything that should be help to the helpless should be the Democratic Party agenda. But I mean, I don't disagree. I've said several times that I believe Democrats are trying to play by the rules, and Republicans are creating the rules. And they're just, you keep.
I'm an equal opportunity offender.
I'm a Democrat, but I don't like where we are, and I know you're kind of a little bit of
I'm a moderate.
Yeah,
I don't just because I just see certain things that I don't agree with, regardless of if they're wearing a blue shirt or a red shirt, and I just try to make the best decision when it comes time to vote, based on that individual and what they plan on doing in the office. I just can't. That's just me. But again, that's just how I see the landscape.
Right.
In terms of politically. But we definitely need to do more in terms of education. We need to do more. But it's gonna take a bipartisan effort,
and that's gonna be
of
impossible.
People being adults and not trying to score the political points in the moment. And we need to take a hard look at where money is currently going, and where we can reroute that money to fund programs that's going to be helpful to people. Because at the end of the day, when you have, and it's not a panacea, it's not a cure-all, but I would imagine that if you execute properly on the educational program, you're going to see lower crime. You're going to see, you see what I'm saying?
It's going to
you're going to have a lot of key performance indicators in terms of the country.
Right.
You're going to see these things move in the right direction.
Right.
But you're going to pay on the front. You're going to pay on the front end or on the back end.
Either way.
If you skimp out on education, you're going to pay for it more in terms of law enforcement and prison system.
Right. Either way.
To me, it's cheaper to
pay on the front end.
Pay on the front end.
You'll be more productive.
Yeah.
As far as the country just moving, you'll be more productive. So, there's a movie coming out, and this'll I just want your public opinion. The name of the movie is and I didn't know it's actually supposed to be a true story. Woman King.
Yes, I saw this a while back. But I guess the trailer just came out. I heard of the idea of it. I'm not super familiar with it, but it's and I'm just reading the article here from Looper, which is a website and I think also a YouTube channel that goes over what's happening in the movie business.
Right.
And so here's what they have to say. So TriStar Pictures is producing this. And this is about a time period in history where there was a kingdom of Dahomey, once powerful African nation. They had an all-female warrior unit that was active in the 18th and 19th centuries. Okay. So you have Viola Davis that plays the title character. So she's the leading lady. Yeah, so interesting. I mean, I find it just going straight at the title before I even get into plot or anything else. The title's confusing to me because we have a name for what you're trying to express. It's called a queen. So to say, when you release something that has a title that says Woman King, that means I already feel like you're trying to progress and promote a particular narrative of the feminist variety, you know? And when I just think about historically, and it's just basic stuff, just basic. And help me understand where I might be going wrong here. But if you have a king, we automatically assume that the king is a man, because that's what we call the male leader throughout history. Europe, Africa, king. Right. Now, when a king takes a wife, marries a woman, she becomes the queen.
Right.
But if a queen marries a man, he's the queen's husband.
I get it.
A king can make a queen, but a queen
can't make a king.
Can't make a king.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, and I just think sometimes as a culture we try to do too much. And when I first saw the title, it just struck me like Woman King, and it's like before you even read into what the plot is or what the basis of the movie is about, you automatically assume it's to push this.
It's culture war.
Yeah.
It's culture war.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we tried to do Wonder Woman. That wasn't enough, which I enjoy the movie.
I like the
Gal Gadot's great.
Yeah.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Based on the comic books, character, all that different stuff. Cool. Now you're taking this out of the pages of history. Okay. But also at the same time, I don't think that's how she was referred to. The historical character. This is the modern day. Let me impress.
Right. On
this
that
title.
Right. It's a modern day look at a moment in history.
A moment in history.
And I think sometimes even just think of. So
I guess they already did Xena Warrior Princess. I guess it was taken.
Well,
so copyright issues.
What is the I guess and again I promote women. You can do what you want, be what you want. I believe all whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you're out of your lane, you leave no lane for a man to run in. Right. So don't say where are the men, because you're running in that lane.
Yeah, they're in the opposite direction because you're running in the opposite direction.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing is that when you have track and field, the lanes are painted. Right. The lanes are there. The course is set. Now the question is, do you want to participate in that process or do you want to go do your own thing?
Right.
If you want to go do your own thing, that's fine. But king. Right. We have a definition for that.
Right.
Right.
And
it's this constant this redefinition of
what's already hardly defined.
Of what come on guys. This is stuff that we know that we act like we're not aware of.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Viola Davis.
Yeah,
nobody does a messy cry like Viola Davis. I'm
interested to see the movie because of her.
So. Yeah, really. Yeah, that's the deal. Otherwise, But that's the thing is that I'm just curious, what are they trying to portray,
right.
In terms of the messaging? Because again, I ascribe to complementarianism, which ascribes the equal value, but there is a difference in rank.
Right.
That's just how the creator designed it. Take it up with him. I didn't set up the setup. I'm just a piece on the board. And I mean, I'm glad that they're taking a look at African history. That part I applaud.
Yeah.
I hope it's represented accurately.
And that's what I'm worried about.
That's my concern, is that you're taking something that should be highlighted in a genuine way, but you use it as a springboard to go off into your culture war.
The current culture, right.
And so I would say, to be, proceed with caution on this movie. And I mean, here's the deal: is that I'm really disappointed. One of my favorite franchises is the Marvel franchises, but I've noticed that increasingly in the Marvel movies, there's these ulterior motives, there's these agendas that are being put forth from all different angles.
Hey, art imitates life, and right now there are two things that are on the topic of, no matter what artistic expression of song or movies or whatever, it's two topics, and that's going to be this gender, realignment or whatever you want to call it, and then the freedom of sexual expression or whatever that is, whatever. And so I don't think it needs to be on the headline of every piece of life, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're making it. And so again, I'm interested in the movie, but because
I like history. I think history is interesting enough the way it was, than to try to be revisionist.
Right.
And let's take the history, but let's use it for our current modern purposes.
Right.
The only current modern purposes that it should be used for is for us to understand human nature and us to not continue to make the mistakes of the past that we look at backwards as we live forwards.
Right.
That's the value of history, is that you have the opportunity to learn from other people's mistakes, and so that you can make a better society than what was left in the past.
Right.
But this whole deal, I just see a lot of revisionist history. I see relativism. I see digging in the trenches to continue to put forward the feminist narrative. And I mean, I'm really, really concerned. I hope it comes out better than I think it will.
Yeah. I anticipate it and I'm ready to see it, but I'm not holding out much hope. So we'll see. Yeah. Viola Davis is one of my favorites, so we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Yeah.
Likely to debut and we're still a ways out, because it may not even come out next year. It says it's 2023 at the earliest, early, not summer. 2023 at the earliest. So to me, that means it could be right. You're still way out.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see, and until then, we'll keep our eyes open. Hopefully, the date will come out. I want to see it.
I agree.
So
I'll let you see it first, though.
Yeah, and then
and let me know
if y'all have some negative comments. Shawn's email is attached.
Send it to me. Yeah, send it to me.
His email is attached.
Absolutely.
Man, thank you guys for being with us today and every day. Again, as we try to just give some truth about where we are and where we should be going. You have anything special coming up, Shawn?
Not particularly. I would say that by the time this comes out, the National Baptist Convention will be approaching.
Yeah.
And I just pray that the clergy community, in Houston would be good, gracious, and godly hosts for our visiting clergy.
Absolutely.
And that all things will go smoothly, with that convention.
Absolutely. And whatever that entails. And so let's be open and hospitable and show some Houston hospitality. And I don't think there's anything other major going on. Again, watch out, cover, for each other. Kids are back in school, that kind of deal, whatever.
Yep.
Let's keep our eyes open for our young people. And again, thank you for joining us. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe, so that we can continue this platform, allowing truth to be told. So again, until we see you guys next time, grace and peace is our prayer for you in your life.